Good morning, everyone. Although we met in June at our 77 Fund annual seminar, this session serves as additional training and education because not everyone could attend the event. And even though we share the recordings of the seminar on our Emperor's website, it does not allow members across the state to ask questions in real time. Today, you have that opportunity. I'm Floyd Teamer, the Strategic Employee Relationship Manager here at Emperor's. And during our seminar, I emphasized that we will be conducting more training, education, and relationship management throughout the year. Today marks our first 77 Fund webinar that focuses on your responsibilities as pension secretaries and what you process in the ERM. In addition to the annual seminar, we plan to hold these sessions a few times a year because we recognize that training and education are needed more than once a year. So expect more training opportunities with us. Many of you have heard that we are in the beginning stages of outlining changes to the current ERM system. One of those changes we're discussing is the possibility of making the baseline application process electronic. Yes, you heard me right. We are examining all relevant laws and processes to make this happen. Rest assured, we're doing our due diligence in the hopes of making this a reality because we understand the importance of this process and what benefits it will provide you if the changes can be made accordingly. Now, more information will be coming on this topic as we know more. So now I'm going to turn things over to Alicia Frank and Katie Luzader to start the day. But consider this an annual mini seminar focused on instruction, training, and asking questions. And we look forward to seeing you at our next annual event in 2026. Folks, have a great day. And as always, stay safe.
Good morning. Thank you for attending the Employer Advocate 1977 Fund webinar. Today we're going to go over some pension relief reminders, baseline information, payroll calendars, certified salary, reporting certified salary, adjustments to reporting, and answer any questions that you all have. So to start off with, here we do have our 1977 fund rates, and our current rate is 20.30% through December 31st this year. The Emperor's Board of Trustees voted on October 25th of 24 to set the 26 rate at 23.30. That will become effective January 1st to 26 through December 31st to 26. Also, to keep in mind, this year, October 31st, the board did also set the 2027 rates, and that will be going up to 26.5%, effective January 1st of 27 through December 31st of 27. So please keep those reminders and information. You will also see here the contribution rate location is a link to where you can see that on our website, and we'll show you that here in a moment. When it comes to pension relief, pension relief in 1980 was established to assist cities and towns with benefit payments associated with police and fire systems of the 1925, 1937, and 1953 plan, collectively known as the old plans. Pension relief is starting this, getting ready to start next month. So the ERM link will be activated January 2nd, and then those submissions are due February 6th, 26. Along with just a few reminders, the first installment will be paid out before July 1st, and that second installment will be before October 2nd. And then also too, the pension relief documents are also shown on our website, and we'll show you that here in a moment.
All right, so like Alicia said, our first demo, we're going to go through a little bit of information on what you can find on our website. So first, We'll should go over where to find just your general rate information. We'll go through some pension secretary resources, and then also just want to show you guys where you can find the pension relief letters. Just a good reminder on where to locate those. So first things first, our rate information. So on our NPERS website, you go over here to employers, and then you are just going to go down here to employer communication. This is going to be your quickest way to locate our rate information. So whenever new rate information is put out or updates, what have you, just go to that section and then click here where it says what are the current rates. Click here for more. And then we'll just scroll down a little bit and we've got our 77 rate information. So again, like Alicia said, it's got our current rate and then what we're going to go to beginning of this new year here. That'll be updated shortly. And next, super important is our pension secretary resources. So this is a really great page to take a look at, get some information. When we are on here, you have just kind of some general information. You also have some hyperlinks here on just kind of getting you back to where those forms and instructions are, some member forms, and then even some FAQs about pension relief. So a lot of information packed in here. And then we've also got some information here about our pension secretary mentor program. So I know it's super important for you guys to have those different contacts and be able to discuss different duties and items that you might experience as a pension secretary. So if you scroll down here, we do have 6 volunteers that serve as mentors. So you've got their information here as well as some phone numbers and emails. So any of these guys, they are more than happy to meet with you, email, chat, what have you, to talk about any questions you might have in your role as a pension secretary or working through your 77 fund. Like I said, kind of up here in these 3 links, you do have your forms and instructions. Once you click that, you will want to go over here to 77. And then you've got pretty much everything that you could need. So if you guys do have a change in authorized agent, you do have your authorized agent form. For any new baseline applicants you have, you'd want to click on the enroll an applicant, and this is going to download a fillable form of our application. And then if you have any kind of lateral transfers or people that are moving from one 77 unit to another, you've always got your transfer form down here as well. So again, quite a bit of information packed on these, but they are there just to be able to have them whenever you need them. Also with, just kind of going back here to our pension secretary resources, I know Alicia touched a little bit on pension relief. Once you scroll down, you do have information on how to do your submissions. You've got a quick reference guide. And then most importantly, you've got your pension relief distribution letters. They are broken down by employer. This is where you're going to be able to locate those once they have been released for the newest distributions. If you need copies of previous distribution letters, obviously we go back to 2022. So if you need a copy of a letter from before then, give us a call, Employer Advocates, we can help you get a copy of that. But just pretty easy to navigate. I know it is all of the units, so if you Control F or search, put your submission unit number in, it'll bring up just yours. So that way you can just locate your single unit. But again, we just wanted to go through a few things here on our website that can hopefully make your job a little bit easier.
All right. Next, we're going to go over 77 fund baselines. So for baselines, that is where you take your state-wide physical exam, your statewide mental exam. That gives you your 1977 fund baseline, which the baseline is what gets your police and fire members into the fund. So just a few reminders when it comes to the baseline statewide physical and mental examinations are in addition to any local standards that your unit has. And I'm not going to read every thing on the slide, but these are the codes that we recommend take a look at. You've got your statewide physical examination, the IC 36-8-8-19. It will go through and give you information in regards to what is needed. The biggest three items to take away from that is must be administered by a licensed physician, must include general medical history, and must include tests identified in the administrative code. Along with this physical, you do have that statewide mental examination. And the biggest three bullet points we have here is the standards of passing shall be determined by the local board. Your local board can designate a community mental health center or managed provider, licensed physician, or psychologist to administer that mental exam. And then results can only be interpreted by a licensed physician or psychologist. We do have excludables, so you do want to take a look at those, and so that can permit entry into the fund, places prohibition on certain classes for disability, and you can see all of that information on 35 IAC 2-10-2. There are disqualifying conditions as well, so please take a look at the code 35 IAC 2-9-6. Things to think about when it comes to the excludable conditions. When do excludable conditions prohibit Class 3 disabilities? That would be members who are hired after 3/1 of 92. A covered impairment doesn't include a Class 3 impairment that begins after entry or re-entry and is related in any manner to the Class 3 excludable condition. If it is not a covered impairment, then disability is not possible. For more information, you do have your Indiana code listed here. Also, if a member has an excludable condition and a Class 3 impairment that is not related in any manner to the excludable condition, and the member has completed at least 4 years of service with their employer after entry or re-entry, then that member is entitled to a monthly disability benefit. Keep in mind, if a member has an excludable condition and Class 3 impairment is related to any manner to the excludable condition, and the member is not entitled to a monthly base disability benefit. If during the first 4 years of service with employer, a member with an excludable condition has a Class 3 impairment based on accidental injury, not related in any manner or excludable to the condition, the member is entitled to disability with regard to the accidental injury if approved by the local board and MPERS medical authority. Again, please take a look at the code listed on the slide, which is 36-8-8-13.5. Switching over to disqualifying conditions, we do have your code, and they are listed on the baseline application on page 15. So you do have your vision. So if you have vision bino correctable at least 20 to 30, and then you have your vision of worst eye not correctable at least 20 to 50, and so forth. You also have your hearing deficit, any communicable disease or condition that poses significant risk of substantial harm to the health or safety of the candidate, coworkers, or members of the public. Suddenly incapacitating diseases or conditions, physical or mental, unless controlled by medication and the candidate affirms taking medication. You also have your alcohol use, any history of alcoholism, unless the candidate has successfully rehabilitated for a period of at least 1 year, successfully passes examination for alcohol use, and candidate affirms no longer engaging in use of alcohol and has rehabilitated for a period of at least 1 year before employment. You also have your drug use, that is disqualifying conditions as well. Any history of illegal drug use or evidence of drug abuse, unless candidate is successfully rehabilitated for a period of 1 year, successfully passes an examination for the use of drugs or drug use, and candidate affirms no longer engaging in drug abuse and has successfully rehabilitated for that 1 year before employment. Few baseline reminders. One, our baselines does take at least 30 days to complete. So again, a complete baseline application, everything is correct, no corrections are needed, and then we send it over to our medical authority, and that needs to be at least 30 days prior to that intended hire date. So 30 days begins when we have that complete corrected baseline and doesn't start until then. If corrections are needed, then that countdown has not started. So that can prolong the process of getting that approved. Must be approved before enrollment and reporting certified salary and contributions. And then note, the name of the applicant on page 1 of the application automatically populates through the entire document. And if you make any changes to that one section, it updates all across the section. So please be mindful of that. Katie touched a little bit of this, but we also do have our intent to hire form on our website. Just remember, intent to hire forms replaces the need for a baseline application if the member is doing a lateral transfer that is less than 180 days from that termination of the previous unit. The form can be used for an individual going from any 77 fund participating unit to another participating unit. Over the last year, we do have some new tests that we just want to remind everyone. Chest x-ray, adding that thoracic, lumbar, and cervical x-ray. We have our treadmill cardiac stress test, and we have our treadmill evaluation, respirator clearance, functional movement, or orthopedic screening, or both as indicated. And another acceptable TB testing is IGRA. Remember, for baselines, members can appeal excludables, follow instructions provided in communications, and the employer advocate team will obtain and send any additional medical documentations to our medical authority for review. Just to give you some examples of those new tests, this is just to give an example of a treadmill evaluation or cardiac stress test. Example of the functional movement and body, and another functional movement. This one is Dari motion, and that is acceptable. And we're going to get into our certified salary. We are in current enrollment, so we do want to make sure we get our certified salary submitted through ERM by December 31st. To ensure that your 2026 first payroll is ready. Who can submit your certified salary? That can be your clerk treasurer, controller, and trustee. When is the form needed? At this time, unless it's outside of enrollment or you don't have a contact type for your unit that I just mentioned, then a form will be needed, and all you would need to do is contact the employer advocate team, and we can get that form to you. Ways that we communicate the certified salary is through ERM along with our newsletter. For those certified salary, do you want to kind of go over those payroll calendar expectations? So your total certified salary wage is reported over the course of the payroll calendar year. and to determine the wage amount of each payroll reporting divided total certified salary amount by the number of payroll dates set for your unit's calendar year. And we advise not to round up, as this may cause over-reporting error on the last payroll being reported. ERM expects the member to be reported as close to, if not on exact amount of that certified salary that is set for that calendar year. Certified salary is applied to that payroll dates, calendar dates, and not pay periods. You're not actually reporting worked wages, so everyone in your unit is going to be reported the same amount regardless of what paycheck they're receiving. There's no reporting for voluntary contributions or severance when it comes to the 77 fund, which is why it's so important to go ahead and get those certified salaries submitted to us, so that way your 2026 payroll calendar is ready to go. So just to kind of give you an example, this is what your reporting would look like. You'd have your members listed and everyone has the same wages listed for that period of time. Again, it's about payroll calendar dates and not pay period dates.
All right. So we'll do another demo here of a few things within the ERM system itself. So I'm going to go over where to just kind of start off, view your payroll calendars, see your unit set information, also where you are going to enter your certified salary. So if you've got one of those contact types that allows you to do that for your unit, I'm going to go through kind of what it looks like for you to enter that information into the system. Now, again, if you do not have one of those contact types that gives you the permissions and user roles to do that within ERM, then again, just give us a call. We'll get a paper form sent out to you. All right. So when you go into ERM, you just click the drop down next to employer, click the drop down next to submission unit, and then manage submission unit. So here, for demonstration purposes, we only have one unit, but if you were to have both police and fire, only one of them is going to pop up. So you would just want to use the search submission unit ID here at the top to make sure that you are going in and setting your information for both units or be able to see both. So here we've just got the one unit. When we look down here, we've got our account details. So obviously when your unit went in to effective, we do have address and phone. It is important that you keep these up to date because we do utilize these when it comes to sending out, say, like excludable letters or different information that might need to go to you and your new applicants. So it is super important to keep those up to date. We have our pay admin. So we have on here typically bank information. So you will see the bank account that you have tied to your unit. If you have the user role to update bank information, you would have some additional boxes here at the bottom. That's going to allow you to make those changes. I will just say, keep in mind, if you guys do have a change in your bank and you need to make this update, it does typically take about 7 to 10 business days for that to authenticate and allow you to be able to use it. So if you do need to change banking information for your police or fire department, perfectly fine to do so. That's something that you as the unit are responsible for, and you do need to give the system time to allow that new account to become active for use. We also have on here our wage and contribution tabs. This is where we're going to find those payroll dates. So here, this unit is a monthly unit. If we go off to the side here and click modify payroll calendar, obviously we just have, say, this last payroll date here to do for their reporting. We're only going to see the one. We also have our contacts. We click active, we'll see, okay, these are the individuals that we have active. Again, we've got those different contact types off to the side. Those are things that, again, give those permissions to make changes. And then finally, we have our contribution type details. This is where you're going to go in and make that update to certified salary. So you will see the current year information. So we've got our base salary, our longevity, and our total. Remember that total is what we are going to be using to do reporting later on for our whole unit. Now, if we click display current rates, we're going to get just that. We're going to get the current contribution rates. So we have our total mandatory contribution at 6%, and then our employer contribution at 20.3%. After the beginning of the year, you will notice that this will change for the new 26 rates. Now this modify button, if you again have the contact types, you're going to be able to click on this modify. When you click on modify, the pop-up is where essentially you are going in and certifying the certified salary for the next year. If you are unable to click on that, and you should be able to click on that, give us a call. We can kind of troubleshoot, see what's going on, or just make sure we've got the right individuals for your unit. Now, this is very, very similar to the paper forms that we've used in the past. We have in here at the very top our mandatory contributions, when that went into effect. So essentially, who was paying the 6%. If you were to need to make some changes here to how your mandatory contributions are being paid, we do have a separate form for that. You will not be able to change that here when doing your certified salary. So if you guys have more than maybe one change to make going into the new year, please don't hesitate, give us a call. We'll help you fill out the form and get that submitted as well, so we can change over how the mandatory contributions are paid for the unit. Now on here we have quite a bit of information to look through. So we are going to need to confirm that we understand the sections. We understand that the certified salary amount, it should be reported beginning the first payroll date of the year. So certified salary, again, it's going to go based off the payroll dates, not necessarily your pay periods. Here, we're able to edit our highest non-promoted salary. We're able to edit our longevity. And then we are able to indicate whether this service is for service of not more than 20 years or service of more than 20 years, but not more than 25 as a result of the meet and confer process. You will need to select one, and then again, just go through, make your marks, that you understand, that you've got your confirmations. It's been discussed in the past, you cannot go any lower. So just if you were to put your amounts in, you are going to get errors. So it is going to let you know what your previous amount was. Due to code, your certified salary needs to be able to stay compliant. So we need to obviously make some necessary updates here. If it is correct though, and there was a lower than previous years, you do need to call us so we can work through that. So let's see. There we go. Now we went back to 60,000, the error went away. Towards the bottom here, we have our affidavit section, so where we're going to sign off. As you notice, we've got the 3 different individuals that can enter that information. So you put that information in, you would put your phone number, As you notice, you cannot update the email or printed name, as that is tied to your account in ERM. So it is going to autofill to your information as you're entering this in. And then it has you type in for your signature. And then at the very bottom, you have all the governing legislation. So once everything looks good, you can go ahead and click Save. And your new 26 information is in here. Now, if you noticed, nothing changed. So for our unit, let's say we didn't have any increases to our base salary or our longevity, that's perfectly fine. However, you still need to go through the motions and go in and certify that that is in fact your certified salary for the new year. So even if you don't have any changes to your amounts, you still have to go in, click modify, make sure everything looks good, indicate in the different sections, and save. So even if, again, rates or your amounts are not changing, you will have to go through and certify that this in fact is the amount that you're sticking with for 26. Now, if you were to click save and then you remember, oh, you know what, our non-promoted salary did increase, that's fine. You can go through, you can make those updates, whatever you put in as your last submission, that's what's going to be seen as your certified salary. So if, again, you were to put the same amount, but really you meant to put 62,000 for a total of 67, you would just kind of go through the same motions here. You'd still do your signature. And save. You can see there's all these validations. So if you do forget something, it's going to let you know. So if you notice now here, we've got our new effective date of 26 with our total of 67,000. If you are ever wanting to look back and see the information that has been put in over previous years, you can always go over here to your employer reports. And you have that information. So if you remember, I entered our 26 certified salary twice because I remembered, oh, you know what, I put the wrong information. The one at the very top is going to be what's seen for your certified salary going into the new year.
Now that we have our certified salary ready to go and entered into the system, we're ready for building our payroll file for MPERS. So again, all of the certified salary is going to be your wages when it comes to your file. There are a couple ways that you can, two ways that you can get this information to us. So first off, what is a file upload and who builds it? Your unit or payroll vendor will build the file. There are resources located on our website, and we also do provide an example file available that you can use and provide to them. A single file can include both your police, fire, and perf. Members must be coded appropriately. When is a file upload required? If you have members over 200, then your unit is going to want to use the file upload. But if you have less than 200 members, then we do have an online entry in ERM as an option as well. And we'll go over that here momentarily.
All right, so our third demo here of some different information. So we'll go over here to our website and just get a little bit of good general information and resources for you, whether it be your, say your payroll department or your admin staff, or if you have a payroll vendor, if they are the ones building the file. They will want to go out here to our website and go down to where it says employer reporting and maintenance. From here, go over to where it says ERM file templates. And when we do that, we have a whole page here on our website dedicated to some resources for you in terms of like how to build your file, as well as some instructions for the layout of the file. And so depending on which system you're using, there are different instructions on how to create that file itself. And then we have a bulk member maintenance specification as well as a bulk member enrollment specification. So if you were to, let's say, be a larger unit and you're wanting to use the file upload to, say, do your member enrollments, maybe just do, hey, everybody's built into this file, upload them all at once, or member maintenance. So maybe, you've got quite a few people on leave, off leave, terminating, what have you. You can use files for those as well. And then just in general, we have our layout specifications here. So once you click on this, you do have a document here that it's going to give you that file layout as well as really what's needed in each section. So if we scroll through here, you have really some good in-prose terminology and definitions. So just what exactly is expected for those different areas. And then you do have your formatting and structural rules. So things to keep in mind with building the file itself. And then we get down here to our field details. So in terms of what is needed in the header, as well as like what is needed there. And then you do have some samples. So one of the biggest things that we run into, especially that first payroll of the calendar year, typically there's quite a few errors that pop up just due to the formatting of the header or the different dates in the file. So just always remember it's month, day, and then the whole calendar year. So if you put in, say, 1/6 of 26 and not 01/06/2026, you will get an error. So just remember the formatting. We want to make sure we're including all those necessary zeros. And then again, you've just got some additional information here on what is needed in each section. And when it comes to building the file itself, like I said, a lot of people, their payroll vendor builds it for them or has an output from their system that they use. If you do not, and you want to kind of build that file from scratch, if you click on this ERM WNC template, it is going to give you an Excel sheet. I know it looks pretty basic, but you've got the spacing up here for your header. And then you've got for all of your different fields. So all those different columns that were mentioned in that layout document, everything is already built here. So really it's just plugging everything in. So you would put the payroll date, your row count, and then you would just go down the rows here, so and down the columns. If there's nothing to put in a certain box, it's perfectly fine. You can leave it blank, because when you save it as that text file or the file with your pipes in it, having nothing in there will just mean that those pipes are going to lay out the way that they need to in order for the file upload to work correctly. Now, if you are a smaller unit, such as our unit we have here in the system to work through today, you can use an online entry. With 77 Fund, online entries can honestly be kind of a time saver, because once you set up that report once, you're really just using that same report over and over again, and you're able to click create from previous. But in this case, the unit is new, so just want to walk you through kind of what it would look like to set up that entry. So you would click the drop down here next to wage and contribution, and then go to online entry. We would click on the unit we want to do and click next. And then we've got our payroll frequency. We'll enter in our payroll date and next. Now, if you have done an online entry previously, you would have a little radio button here that says create from previous. In this case, we do not. So we're going to do new report. Right. When you get to this screen, don't panic. I know it's kind of scary. You open it up, there's no one there. You can either go in and click add members, and you can add each person individually, or we can do add all members from submission unit. So everyone that is active in the unit, when you click on that, they are going to populate. So we've got our 5 individuals here. Now, if you notice, we cannot click validate. The reason we cannot click validate is because we haven't modified or added any information to our police officers. So pretty simple. You're just going to go off here and click modify. And we're going to enter in our wages and our contributions. Again, I know it looks like a lot of fields, but just like in that file, we're not going to use everything. So our 2025 certified salary total was $65,000. So if we take that and divide it by our 12 months, each month of wages, again, regardless of their actual take-home pay, is going to be based off that certified salary. Now, if you take $65,000 and you divide it by 12, you get $5,416, and then 0.66666, all the sixes. So with that, we do advise that you do not round up. When you round up at the end of the calendar year, that last payroll, you are going to get a C25 error. What that means is the system is seeing that you've over-reported, even by the slightest bit. So I do recommend not rounding up and keeping it as is. That way, at the end of the payroll calendar year, when you look at the total certified salary reported for everyone, you are on the penny, if not as close to as possible to that total certified salary amount. Because being over by, say, those 12 to 13 cents, if we were to round up, it is going to make a difference and cause an error on that last payroll. If you do notice that happens here in these next couple weeks as you're finishing out your 25 certified salary, give us a call. Any of our advocates can help pull a member, kind of see where we're at and what that wage amount that would be accepted in ERM would be. Now, based off our wages, we're going to put in our mandatory contributions. This unit was employer paid, so we're going to put in our 6%. And then we're going to go down to our employer contribution share. Like Alicia mentioned earlier, there is no severance reported for 77 Fund. However, ERM, it is set for all the funds. So Again, you can just kind of go past some of these fields as they are not needed. Once you set up your online entry once, just so you know, it will go ahead and pre-populate based off of your payroll frequency. So if I were to have clicked new from previous, more than likely this would have already been populated here with the information that was needed. You will notice you've got a last day in covered position, last day in pay, and then a last check date down here. You do not want to enter any information in these fields unless you are truly wanting to terminate your member upon processing the report for payment. If you were to go in here and put, say, the last day in pay, maybe the last day in this pay period, that would just signify to NPERS that the last day the person worked was the 30th. Even if you didn't mean to, and you do that, you process for payment, it is going to terminate that member. So do not put anything in those unless you truly are wanting to make those life event changes upon processing your payroll. Okay, so if you've noticed here now, again, I still cannot click validate because I have my other 4 members. So I'm going to go through here and add those in. And remember, everybody's reported the same way. So as you can see, kind of building that online entry, it is pretty quick once you get the hang of it. As again, you're putting the same wage amount, the same contributions over the course of all of your members. Now, if we're going through here and we had clicked add all members from submission unit, and let's say that there are individuals on here that should truly not be on this payroll because they maybe have a life event or they terminated your previous payroll, what have you, you can always click remove here. And that's going to remove just that single individual from the report. So it's just going to remove that individual from there. So again, you notice we can't validate this member. Let's say that, again, they are on some form of life event, or maybe they went on military leave, what have you. We're not reporting them at this time. Just click remove. You say yes, that's fine. And now we can actually validate our report. If you were to click save report, it happens, it's okay. If you were to go out to your submission report, because we thought that we had saved it, we're good to go for payment. Unfortunately, we come out here and we're not able to process for payment because we are in a saved status. How do you get that out of a saved status? You're going to go back to your online entry. The only options you're going to have for your frequency or your payroll date, previously we had different options, now we only have the one. Our report type, as you notice, now it's not create new report anymore. Now we've got our saved report. So we click the little radio button and we click next. And it is at the same exact point that we left off previously. Now we're able to validate, and it's been submitted for validation. And you'll notice it does say validating. It typically takes a few seconds here for this to show over as validated. If it does get stuck on this page, perfectly fine. You can just click back into it, and typically it will go ahead and show it as a validated status. So we'll give it just a second here. And now we're in a validated status. So we click view. We don't have anything with errors or errors and warnings only. All our validations did pass for payment. However, if you've noticed, when we first were going through our unit information, we didn't have a bank account. Obviously, we cannot process for payment because we don't have a bank account on file here. So for this demonstration, can't necessarily show you how to process that for payment. However, it is very step-by-step, and we do have resources on our website that show you not only how to add the bank account, but how to walk through that process for payment screen as well.
All right, so we are going to finish our webinar here with some wage and contribution adjustments. And if you have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat. So we're going to move to wage and contribution adjustments. What kind of adjustments do you use? Can you use? You can do it by member. So you are going to do by member for adjustments to previously submitted information. So this is a wage and contribution has been reported for a member and needs to be corrected, whether it be over-reported, under-reported, and then you have your file upload record type A. If you're type A, you'll use for your file upload or your manual adjustment online that Katie walked through. You have your missed wage and contribution option as well. And this is again for wages has not been submitted or reported for a member for a pay period. So it covers a gap in reporting. And then if you're doing a file upload, that record type is M. Or again, you have your online entry available to you. If you have multiple members or it's a full report, we do have wage and contribution adjustments by report. Corrections, again, to those multiple members on a single paid submission report for your unit. You can update those wages in ERM or anything else that you need to change. And then you can keep in mind that you can't do this option by file upload. So this would have to be done online in ERM manually. As a reminder, adjustments, certified salary is applied by payroll dates, not pay periods, including adjustments. Payroll dates being used must end on a calendar year the adjustment is applied to. If you only apply the missed payroll to appropriate pay periods, do not use corresponding payroll dates, or else you'll get that C25 year that Katie was talking about. That will begin populating as the member is seen as over-reported for that year. So want to really make sure when you're doing adjustments that you're applying those missed certified salary wages to the appropriate year. So just as an example, if a new 77 fund member began working on November 24th and was discovered that they had not been reported until the second payroll in January of 25, what do you need to do? How do you report that information? So the first thing is we got to clear that gap. So first we're going to enter adjustments for the missing 2024 certified salary, reporting with the pay period start date as the hire date with pay period end date aligning with that last 2024 payroll date. Payroll date for this must end in 2024. That will be one submission. And then your second submission will be entering that second adjustment, reporting the missing wages of 25 of that certified salary using the payroll date ending in 25. So again, when you have cross years like this, we've got to have two separate adjustments, because if we did everything as one big adjustment and used a 2025 date, then all of those wages would be counted for 25, and then when you get to the end of the year or even sooner, then a C25 year will come up. So again, make sure you separate those years out. If you have any questions or troubles or need help of any kind, that's what the employer advocate team's here for, and they are here and ready to walk you through those adjustments. Here is the page with all the resources we've used today throughout our webinar. It also includes our YouTube channel, which we've done several webinars and have videos up that have great information. So please feel free to reach out and take a look at those. And then also too, here's how you get in contact with the employer advocate team, whether it be by email, call, or if you get logged into ERM, you do have our chat available that we can talk through. We're here to help in any way that you can. So please feel free to utilize us. We understand this is a lot of information we gave today, but also too, it's a lot of information just to keep in general. So please feel free to reach out. We're here and ready to answer any questions that you may have. We appreciate your time today, and thank you so much.